Welcome to Gerald Johan van der Waals educational channel. Also in this video I will further continue the explanations about the theory in which you can find in the book Sound in 4, Methodical Synesthesia, out on Trafford, also available in two parts very soon. First part out just a few days ago. The book is about how to change sounds into forms. It's a completely new method of controlled synesthesia, so you need a kind of sensitivity for it that you can develop, also thanks to theory, thanks to examples, until you start to realize that how these connections exist between form and letters and the sound of the letters. The book shows a full range of possibilities, but the videos use simplification. So also in this video, which is the next part, where I explain this simplification as a theory. The letters matter, the sounds in the letters matter, the way it is written matters, and so also sometimes the script. So the second part of my book is more about the scripts and how this affects not only the language but also the interpretation of this theory. And then you come to certain forms or understanding of forms, and you understand the underlying meaning, and you also recognize what is the direction which is oriented in the words. It's not accidental. It is a sensitivity that obeys our usage and invention of words, and how we associate the next words and add new words. We deal with everything that happened before, and it all fits. It fits because it's the most simple thing to do. Like we use numbers in the correct way, we also use letters in the correct way most of the time. If hopefully nobody has this as any stupid idea to use rationality more than its sensitivity, because then the simplifications that are added now and then in letters, it is of course due to a lack of understanding and sensitivity as well. But in the end you also lose sensitivity for this, and this sensitivity is important because then you sense the connection between everything around you, and also the underlying structure and tendencies that even nature has, and how the words direct you in different ways, not just in your rational thought but also in a different underlying unconscious way that I reveal. So the fifth part are the letters G, F, P. We already had the letters with one center, the A, T, K, the ones with two centers, the ULB with the video bull, the three centers C, M, X with the examples of tax, max, and the last one is with the extra center, or the last ones with the extra center and move. So the three-dimensional spatial orientations are extended with the element of time most of the time, but it's just move. You can imagine it as a move as well with the video DAC. And the last one was with the letters O, E, Z and W. And this one I explained as 3 dimensions plus 1 or minus 1 or plus 2, depending how you see it. But I didn't give much attention to how this time frame really can be associated. I don't want to make it too complicated in the resume of this simplified theory. Actually, after the first move from the center with the letters D and Y, and the extension of it, that you have also the materialization of its move by O, E, Z, Z and W. Now we really make the move complete, so that we really have an actual move for the first time with the letters G, F and P. Let's forget for the moment the connection with time. It is but the move itself, the completion of the move is actually the most essential part to remember. So, of course, we started with the numbers, at 1 center, 2 centers, 3 centers, and as the spatial centers, and then with the 4 centers, I gave this example, but I preferred to change this into 1 center. Already in the series after that, I have set the numerology association associated with Pythagoras, if whatever he was. If he was involved in or not. It's just the association that is made there, but it exists. But I only used the +1 or -1 or +2 orientation, but I didn't focus upon the 5 centers. Is this possible? I will shortly explain that it is possible, but that it's not the right thing to do at this point, and I will explain you why. With the number 5, it is a continuation which actually already directs you to the complete picture. So the number 5 already leads you to 10. You're just in a half, you're in the middle of making a connection with the other half, and it is an interconnection that is made with the number 5. In the numerology, you can have a lot of reasonings there, and it is helpful, it is useful. But it's not essential to focus for the letters on the level of the number 5 to focus on it too much, because here there also exist larger interactions. In fact, there are effective interactions going on, and they started there with the number 5, but they are not completed, so you can't grasp it completely yet before you understand the full 10 structure that surrounds it, and that I will explain in pictures. So here you have, for instance, all the connections that can be made with the O, and in the middle the U, so the connection itself. It's always going from one position to the next, and this is the interaction from the two number 5s that are running there. So it's always the interaction at the same time from first position to a new position, as you can see here, with the spaces that are connected, that you can see in this picture. Is it helpful to do to grasp the complete picture? No, it is too complicated to focus on it too much. It's helpful to know that the structure is behind the O, the E, the W, the Z and the W, but it's not essential to always put that into your focus. That's because it's now an interaction that is going on. It's not so necessary to emphasize that part too much. As you can see here, it's better to go to the basics. That's also what is essential in these letters, especially O and E. Go to the basics, the interaction itself. If you focus on that, you know where it lies. Not the finalized goal. It's not there yet. The goal has not finalized itself yet. So it's only the way to it. And on the next level, it's a little bit different. So it is, of course, also an interaction, and you can see it here as the interaction, but you can also resume it here. It's much more easy to resume it in the middle with the two triangles, from red to green. This is where the next letters lie, and you can explain them with this very simple form. I did that in my book as the example, but I will do it differently today, and I will go to the essence of the letters themselves and don't go too easily and don't connect to the numbers too easily yet, because they are not the essential parts. They're just guidance that has a certain tendency of this level of letters that uses the structure to form itself. But the basics is simply the interaction itself. It is leading to something. It is not the finalized and finalizing goal yet. So the focus here is not upon the space in between the differences between two positions, where you have to go to make a move, like in the last series. But here it is really about what is needed to finalize the move and to really cross the bridge. And you can see there's only a small space here, for instance, to bridge. What is really needed to make that bridge? It's easy to say, like, okay, this is the size of the bridge that has to be breached, but how do we do that? I mean, can we reach that? I mean, it doesn't say that yet. You can say not much is needed. Now, in this case, the effort that is needed to go from one position and change it to another position, it's within the reach of the center size, as you can see. It's within the range of our center point of view, in other words. So we can start from our own center point of view and just make a small move, which isn't much an effort. We don't have to change our own essence or starting point too much. So here's an example of the G moving towards a different center. It's not disturbing the whole structure. It's not disturbing the balance between the material forms. It's a bit of free form, going from one point to the other point without much interference. And it is also because the size of the extension is not larger than the center size itself. Is there a difference with the E? Because E, we know there's an insertion of a new direction or something extra. It's almost this letter. You know that the G is, this is something, the Y is almost a consonant, but it is still a physical, a vowel, but it's still a consonant, so it is something physical. It's a real thing. It's not the space there, but it's within it is almost. It's still an extension that is really done, but this extension is not changing anything. So the physical aspect of this letter is very low. The interference with the activity is very low, but it makes a connection. That's the idea, the association that you can make by extending extending yourself with another object, or extending one center to another one. If you don't exceed this, it's still this size. It fits to the letter Y. If you really extend it and extend it to something extra, you have an extra effort with an extra reference port, and it's this reference port is already somewhere else. It's not connected with the world of conditions and size of our starting point. So that's why the letter E fits to it very well. And here we make it come back, arrive at the second part. If it arrives within it, we have the letter N there. So because N is finding a new place and within the volume, or new. Or also adding new material at some point, but that fits with the letter N. So in combined, E and N is in, or you move in here, as you can see in this picture. But okay, you can also connect it to some other sounds. The A, for instance, is also always connected with somewhere into the position of the G, so not far away. It's a small extension, and there are two ways how we write it down. With the A, with the like we call it a short A, it is still within the limits of the whole structure, but it is already an extension. So that's A is an extension. Outward is like A is actually a word which also means egg, and this has the egg form, as you can see. The long A is more emphasized on the G. You also write the G down, and it's more expressing all the possible extensions within limits in a certain width. So it is broadening our vision to to the extensions that are possible and still somewhat within our reach. With the E, there is of course the possibility of extending it with something new. That's with the long with these letters. Okay, I'm already leading it a bit too far because these are different letters. So we go back to our theory. So we started with the G. So where is the extension of the G? It is within the limits of our central size. We cross the limit and go to somewhere else. You can see here I expressed here the borders of the limits where you can express this G or Y. The estimation of these borders, you can also express this with Y. Here you try to figure out where we can go and how far we can go from our center point of view. We don't reach the other one yet, but it's just making the borders or trying to focus on where are my borders. It's just a letter just before that in meaning. But the real crossing point is the Y or G. So we have the starting point of the gap that we need to bridge. With the Y, it asks a little bit effort from our center point of view. Now the next letter, here the gap will be larger. The size of this gap will be in the size of the volume, so within reach of the volume. This will, if you watch these videos, it might remind you on the letters that we had before. And indeed, the small within reach gap that we try to reach, you can express with A. And the larger gap, where you have some space in between two objects, we can associate with the letter O. But the real bridge, the breaching the gap, is you do that with the letter F. We express the letter F differently, so I will do that now as well. So I will include that, because this is not about space, it is about material. The material has to go from one place to another. I explained that already in some other videos. The material is a mixture of variations where what can be moved. Not everything has to be shall be moved. There will be something that decides what is possible and what is not, and hopefully we do that in the maximum size. It's better to express it sideways, because I will show you why. Because here we can show we can show the limits of our starting point and the end point where we reach something, and also the size of the material or the extension of the material is expressed there as well. So the orange and the green in the middle are the letter is expressing the letter F. It is okay. I know I made it fit a little bit, but it expresses what is going on there very well. We go over to the last letter of this series. So here it is the next bridging of the gap. The gap here will be even larger. It will be as large as the limits allow, but it is still within reach. So the new thing is within reach of this size. A few possibilities, of course. When it's far away, we can use the W, or we can, if it's you can bridge its gap with just one value. Then we have the O, of course, just the space, and it's values that we have to bridge and breach as well. With the W, okay, we have a very modern word that fits very well with it. So it's the word WAPI, which was used in media as a kind of reference to all the people that wanted to express a different opinion about the corona crisis and the solutions on it. And this word WAPI was used to actually to expel the people, and it's like a swear word that these people are wackos and they don't have much sense in their mind. So it is really putting them away from society and not taking them serious at all. The W is the distance that is already difficult to achieve. With the double P, it makes more distance. It even it is almost out of reach. And with the E and the end, okay, these are the ideas that are almost impossible to that there is a true connection. So it's a bit saying like, okay, you just jump to conclusions too easily, and it's better that we don't deal with you anymore, because it has no breaching point to our reality. So we don't like that. We don't want that. So it is used to conquer and divide here in that way. Another word with the P as an example is the op. And the op is only with the O, so there is the space in between. We start from the space in between and we end with the P, with the bridging the gap. And so the P there, so our focus goes directly to that position on top. It's like up is on top. In the word top, you have that, of course, as well, with the T showing what we can use. It's looking for what we can use there. Also, the word upon is also useful to express with the P, but it's because is the notification. What you don't know yet what it is. The P is then the extension to somewhere else where you move towards to. The O is the space to focus upon, and the N is then the object that has been filled in. Here it is so in this, it's not just focusing upon the top itself, but also what is upon the top. So the focus is slightly moved to that position. So here's a P again. It doesn't matter if what we are trying to reach there is large or small. That's why I expressed here something a little bit more small. And then you have, of course, it's always referring to the top, actually, to what is coming out and it comes on top of what we have. A word that expresses this very well with a double P, then here the pop. Here we have already the P there. Okay, it's slightly already doing that here, but the focus is more on up a little bit. But of course we will have to repeat the P and the O on top, and here we can use the numbers for it. The number 5 or 6 it could have been used as well, and then we make the popping out here a little bit better in the middle, and the conclusion on top, the up on the pop. Of course you have that in English, popping up or popping out. We also have the Dutch word pop, which means dull. So it's the popping out of the volume into another part. That's what is actually the word saying, the word is saying, and the meaning of the word in the underlying meaning. So here again, once more, I prove that the meaning of the words is exactly correct by using the certain letters, and the letters that are used for it are an exact match almost 100% of the time. One of the consequences of knowing and having this sensitivity of synesthesia, actually already from a young age, I think, is that I always had possibilities with a couple of words. The words that were contradictory to the form, like sandwich and for instance, and pistolet. The forms of these words for me were different from than what they are, and that confused me. It's kind of confusion probably only I have because of the synesthesia, but all the other words they fit and they match very well. I'm glad I can show it to you now. After I published my theory, I had to publish my theory first because otherwise I couldn't talk about it. Nobody would take me serious, even if I knew that I was correct in what I was doing. The skepticism is always there immediately, automatically, because it's unknown and it's new. Okay, then you don't have much chance. And now, okay, do I have a degree in this? No, because it doesn't exist, this degree. So do I need a degree for it? In a way, to make someone convinced that it exists. I should have something like that to back up my experience, but what can I do? There is not much reference that can prove what I do. What helps is mathematics. If you know more mathematics, I don't. Sadly enough, I didn't finalize my studies in mathematics. I started them, but I couldn't finalize them. But that helps. Or even computer science helps to program such movements, and of course there are also linguistics professors maybe who can analyze the letters from the viewpoint of how they look like in waves and so on, and you can compare it and it will fit, I'm sure, but it needs a different method also scientifically to have these three-dimensional forms of associations in a way that you can also make them match even better. But they match, but they can match even better, so that this theory and what you can see can be matched how they are. But that's for another chapter. Without help I cannot do that, and it will not be done. Okay, thanks anyhow for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Everything that I explained does not come from this book, but a lot of relationships that were also explained slightly differently in this book. So I think variation is the key. If you look at an object in 20 different ways and you always see the same object from the different angles, you start to get to know the object. Otherwise you just have one idea of what it is. So that's why the variations to look at something are important. All the variations are in the book, and in my videos is again another variation. I have my reasons to do that, but I hope in just lifting out one usable method, this will help you and guide you well. Try to develop the synesthesia by practice, by following a lot of things, reading a lot about it. If you read everything, if you saw all the videos, something will develop sooner or later from it. Anyhow, thanks for watching. This was Gerald Johan van Waas. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel and keep the updates floating towards you. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.